Alright YouTube, it is Galaxy here, and I am bringing you a little E3 video. This is going to be something new from me. I suppose I'll toss this under gaming talk, because it'll just be me talking to images. So, pop up another tab in your browser and just listen to me ramble on, and I'll get you up to date on some of the important things on E3 thus far, or rather overall considering all the major conferences. Actually, all the conferences are done. So yeah, just pull up another browser, read something else, listen to my voice, and you'll be set and hear my opinions and stuff. So we will start off with Halo 4. Easily the biggest game of the show, and with good reason. It started off the Microsoft press conference very strong, with some very spectacular campaign reveal footage. The graphics in this game, phenomenal. I was honestly not expecting them to look as nice as they did. It's really a fantastic looking game. I would personally put it up there with the Crysis and the Battlefield and the Witcher, like on console. I mean, obviously PC, it's no match for anything on a high rig gaming PC, but on console I would rank Halo 4 up there with the best of the best. On the Xbox, at least. The PS3 has a bit more of an advantage with Uncharted and Killzone, but on the Xbox, because Halo 4's color palette and Halo in general is just very rich and vibrant and colorful. Battlefield 3, its lighting, it looks spectacular, but the lighting, it could be too bright, too soft a lot of the time. Well, too bright, too dark, too soft, what was I thinking? And also, it's very dusty. Crysis is a very good looking game and has the advantage, same with The Witcher, but Halo 4 is still very good, especially when you consider the scale of its game compared to Crysis and Witcher, because Halo has vehicles, a lot more enemies, a lot more going on, and it looks fantastic. But not just in terms of graphics, the gameplay seems to be shaping up well. It looks like the Halo. In terms of campaign, it looks like they took Halo and they evolved it, they changed it, and I'm really glad, because Bungie did a great job with Halo 1, but 1, 2, and 3 were very similar, and Reach was a step in a kind of a different evolution. It was like a step sideways. It was like a different type of Halo. They added in some things like the bloom and solar movement and armor abilities, which are really controversial and not well received. Halo 4 takes what's been done by Bungie and just runs with it in a different direction. We now have different armor abilities. Sprint is built in. There's loadouts, perks. It is its own game, but it still looks like Halo. It still feels like Halo. You still have, in the multiplayer that they revealed later, you still killing a lot of bullets. The campaign still looks like here are some enemies, now go find out the best way to kill them, rather than a series of linear corridors. But one thing that was very interesting was, while they kept the Halo feel in the gameplay, they also intertwined some of the more cinematic moments that we see in, Call of Duty or Killzone, or I guess the Battlefield 3 campaign, if you want to throw that in there, because those are really powerful moments that Halo has never done. Halo's always been cutscene at the start of level, cutscene at the end of level, and those cutscenes were in the third person and stuff, and they were cool, but they weren't, really as spectacular as a lot of these first person during mission moments can be. And Halo 4 looks like it has some of them, as witnessed with near the end of the campaign trailer, which I'll leave a link to in the description, like the campaign demo with the Forerunner Knight and everything attacking you, and where it switches to Forerunner vision at one point, which was that odd different color palette. It's very interesting. I really like what they're doing with the campaign. The multiplayer side of things, not that much has been revealed in terms of new things. First of all, we have Spartan Ops, which is the co-op mode. It's episodic. It goes by seasons, so every season, like the first one, is free, and it'll contain a bunch of different episodes, and each episode is released on a weekly basis, and each episode has 5 chapters, which will probably just be 5 battles. These are co-op. They replace Firefight. I think it's a good take, because the Firefight in Halo was never really its strong point. It was fun, but it wasn't really something that you did that often, and a more story-focused co-op experience I think will really give it the edge. The multiplayer, the competitive multiplayer, I personally haven't seen that much, but everything I have seen has been surprisingly good. Considering that they added perks and loadouts, it seems to be going well. Everything, I mean, hopefully will end up being balanced, because with the thing with Halo, it was, if you had a BR, you would beat a guy with an assault rifle every time, no matter the circumstances. Close range, middle range, long range, doesn't matter. In this game, because each loadout, like weapon slot, is its own, slot, so you have to make the choice between the assault rifle and the BR. It can't be clear cut. It needs to be, okay, the assault rifle will beat a BR at close range. It can't be BR dominates all anymore. And from what I've seen, it seems like they kind of got a good balance. The BR is still, very much loved by the MLG, but it seems to really have been focused more into its mid-range role. I've heard that it's not as accurate at long range, and that you will be losing out in some single-player close quarters fights. Looks really good. The awesome, double kill, triple kill, overkill announcer is back. Really like what I see so far, and I just need to see more, though, before I can really talk more about the multiplayer, like the competitive multiplayer side of things, as I need to know what further changes they have done to the map designs. How exactly do the ordnance drops work? And I know the multiplayer is on the E3 show floor, but for us people at home, there hasn't been that much in the way of video footage. So the next game I want to talk about is Splinter Cell Blacklight. This came out of nowhere. When I was watching this press conference, the Microsoft one, and it started to go to, this gameplay demo, and it was, Middle Eastern people with the headgear things on that covers their faces, and they were walking and talking, and it was like, what game was this? I was thinking maybe Black Ops 2, but then it was like, no, this is in the third person, and I saw like two little red triangles appear above a couple enemies, the spot and mark triangles from Splinter Cell Conviction, if you've ever played that, and like my heart skipped a beat, because I was not expecting this. This is probably the biggest surprise of the show, because it's something that exists, but you weren't expecting, as opposed to like a new IP, where you expect some new IP to be shown at E3. So you're kind of expecting when those moments happen. Splinter Cell Blacklist came out of nowhere. It looked very interesting, to say the best. It was very action-packed and explosion-filled, and even though the guy really didn't cause a massive alert until later on in his gameplay demo, he was still running along and just murdering everyone. And I'm going to assume that this is so it makes a good stage presence, at E3. This way people go, wow, look at all those explosions, it's so awesome. So, but I'm hoping that the rest of the game, or at least how we're all going to be playing it, is going to be pulled back a bit more, so that it's not quite as, pew pew, bullets flying everywhere. That's not Splinter Cell, that's not stealth at all. And the biggest thing with Splinter Cell Blacklist is that they got rid of the stupid black and white tint thing from Conviction, where when you were hidden, the whole video game was in black and white, your whole screen, which sounds great in concept, because it's your visualization of if you're hidden or not, but then you played the game constantly in black and white, and you couldn't check out the vibrant, beautiful graphics. This game, they got rid of that black and white factor. Hopefully they have some sort of detection feature this way, maybe something on your HUD that maybe I didn't catch, or maybe they'll reveal later, I don't know, where it tells you if you're detected or not. That's real. I just really am hoping for something like that. But overall, Splinter Cell Blacklist, huge surprise. I thought it looked really cool, and I'm excited. Third up, we're going to finish the Microsoft conference with Black Ops 2. Now, this is the, what's the expression, like 500-pound pink gorilla in the room. I don't know. The point is, this is the big game that everybody is looking towards. It is already like the best-selling game of all time. The thing's not even out yet. It has more pre-orders than anything else combined, including Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2, which, big surprise, because I always thought the Modern Warfare games would have fared better on the pre-order market than the Black Ops games, because they seem to have more of that twitchy, wider appeal. But anyway, this is all about E3. They showed off a actually pretty significant amount of campaign footage. At first, it was very, scripted, cinematic. The first, 3 minutes or whatever of their footage, it was all, epic explosions and scripted with no real shooting. But then it got into the shooting, and it looks alright, but it just looks like more Call of Duty, which honestly really disappointed me. I was expecting more. The graphics are toned up a pretty decent amount, which I'm very thankful for, as Modern Warfare 3 looked atrocious, considering it's a 2012 game. But I mean, Black Ops 2, it still isn't exactly a looker, and it just looks like more Call of Duty. It's just more walk in a straight line, shoot some guys, explosions, something blows up 2 feet in front of you, and you look like you're about to die. It's really great to have those moments in a game occasionally, which is why I'm such a big fan of the scripted sequences, but I don't want a whole game filled with them, because then if you see something flying towards you look like it's about to kill you in Halo 4, or that's actually a bad example, let's say Medal of Honor Warfighter, which I'll get into later, there's actually a chance that thing might kill you and you might die. In Black Ops or any Call of Duty game, that happens 4 times every mission. You're not going to die until a nuke goes off or something. Spoilers for Call of Duty 4. If you haven't played that by now, though, something's wrong with you. Oh God. Anyway, it looked like more Call of Duty, walking in a straight line, yada yada yada. The tech that they showcased, the tech that they showcased in the actual game for the 2025 date, a sniper rifle that kind of sees through walls and can pierce through walls with a charge shot, a grenade thrower thing. Rather than throwing grenade, you have a launcher, not a noob tube. It's just a visual difference rather than a actual gameplay difference. And let's see what else was there in terms of tech. Obviously some drones, lots of cool new vehicles, quadricopters, claws, which are ground assault things like that. And they do mix things up a little, make it a bit different than its predecessors, but it didn't look different enough for me, which really bothered me, because I was we were told it would be more opened up, and so I was really holding for something more akin to Halo than the previous iterations of Call of Duty, but it still continues to be this straight line corridor shooter. And their choices in the mission, one of them was between rappelling down and shooting guys and staying on top shooting guys with a sniper rifle for a bit and then rappelling down. I mean, it was the most trite difference ever. Gears of War has better separation splits than that, and they've had that since the first one when the Xbox launched in 2004, whenever it was. I don't know. It's not something to make a big deal about, at least from what we've seen. Now, the thing to make a big deal about of what they've shown with Black Ops 2 are the Strike Force missions. The Strike Force missions are kind of if you've ever played Toy Soldiers on the Xbox 5 arcade, it's like that. Your units will go move around and kill things, and then you can jump into one of them at any time and take over their role. In case you got lost, basically imagine it like an RTS. You pull up, you have a set amount of units, foot soldiers, quadricopters, even some heavy mechs and assault drones, and they'll go around killing stuff and play a multiplayer, the equivalent of a multiplayer match for you, secure these points to complete the objectives and win this Strike Force mission or whatever they call it. But you can jump into a player or a quadricopter or an assault drone and start killing things and planting objectives yourself. I think it's really cool, and those mix up things a lot. And you get the option to choose which Strike Force missions you say. That's another big choice they have. And I have choice in quotes because what's probably going to be is it's just going to be a bunch of... They'll have, on each multiplayer map, they'll have, a Strike Force equivalent of it. which will be like, plant the bombs, and it has like no relation to the story, no cinematic moments, no nothing. And you do that, and if you win, it'll like add, like think Mass Effect war assets to your total, and if you have enough of them by the time you beat the game, you get a better ending or something. I think it's not going to be quite to the scale that I was hoping, quite to the campaign change that I was hoping. Really disappointing. Black Ops 2, I walked away disappointed. Strike Force seemed cool, but regular campaign, not really. In Strike Force, I don't feel is enough to carry it into new territory. Alright, finishing up with Microsoft, we'll go into Gears of War Judgment for a bit. Gears of War Judgment is a new Gears of War game, prequel to the trilogy. It follows Baird, Cole, and 2 new characters, and basically Baird is put on trial for war crimes, and the game that you play as is him, testifying in his defense and explaining what happened to the court. It's more Gears of War. You kill Locust. I mean, what do you expect? I'm honestly disappointed that, Gears of War 3 came out, 6 months ago, and they're already showing us a new Gears of War after that was supposed to be the last game. I mean, I knew we would be getting more Gears of War. The franchise makes way too much money to not. Though I was honestly expecting it to be, for launch next gen, for, Epic to show off their Unreal Engine 4. Not it feels like a cash grab just now. I mean, it's not graphically improved at all. It looks like a mod for Gears of War 3. It looks like it could have been a DLC expansion pack. Think Halo 3 ODST, except, just think actually Halo 3 ODST. That's probably the best way to look about this, but except this one's, I was about to say, but this one's $60, but ODST was $60 too. Damn, that was a bad value. Anyway, so in terms of multiplayer, there is a new mode, if you can call it that. It's called Overrun mode. It's Horde vs. Beast mode, so you have people playing as the humans, and people playing as, the Locust from Beast mode, so not just, drones. We're talking, tickers, wretches, cantuses, can people, whatever. So you play as those against COG. The COG now have different classes. Engineer builds turrets, soldier kills things, medic revives people, and that's a cool addition for the Horde. Well, they call it Overrun mode now. That's a cool addition for that mode, having classes, but I don't see in the competitive multiplayer how that's going to work out, because how would the medic be a valid function online? Because, people, especially in Gears of War 3, don't stay down for as long. They don't get revived as much. How would the engineer work? There are no fortifications, right? I don't know. I think the multiplayer, it's probably not going to be class-based, and it's going to be, the same Gears of War 3 multiplayer, just on more maps, in which case, why couldn't you have released it as a map pack? It's just not feeling that good. It's also developed by People Can Fly, the people who made Bulletstorm, rather than Epic Games, so obviously, again, Microsoft cash grab. So, I'm not too enthralled with Gears of War Judgment. Now, let's shift things over to EA. EA had 3 major games: SimCity, Crysis 3, and Medal of Honor, that at least appealed to me. They also had Dead Space 3. I haven't played the other Dead Space games on my list, but I don't really want to go into it because I won't be able to give you a valid analysis. They also had a new Need for Speed. Again, not a Need for Speed person, won't be able to give you a valid opinion. Now, SimCity is a new SimCity game. Honestly, I just mentioned it here because it's a new SimCity game. There's not much else to say. It's SimCity, but new. What I do want to go into is Crysis 3 and Medal of Honor Warfighter. Now, Medal of Honor Warfighter looks actually pretty awesome. It runs on Frostbite Engine 2, the engine that ran Battlefield 3, so graphically, it's stunning. The campaign very, Call of Duty-esque, except remember how my problem with Call of Duty was not that it's purely just linear corridors, which is a problem, but not my main beef. My main beef is that Call of Duty, cranks it up to 10 and then leaves it there. Constant explosions, constant cinematic, uncontrollable set pieces. Medal of Honor tends to pull things back a bit more and be more like the Call of Duty 4 campaign, which had, normal, good action throughout with some, very stealth scenes and some very high action scenes. And the constant normal action throughout accentuated the super actiony intense moments. So I'm hoping that's what Medal of Honor Warfighter continues from the previous iteration, because I actually did really like the campaign for the original 2010 reboot Medal of Honor, and it's developed by the same studio, so high hopes for the campaign. It does look pretty sweet. You do get to, it's pretty neat because everything is a bit more authentic. It uses real-world names and places, and it has links to actual operations and locations. So in the demo they showed they were assaulting a beach in Somalia to clear out pirates, Somalian pirates. It's pretty obvious what that link is. And the, it seemed pretty nice. I mean, it did seem to at least borrow a bit from Call of Duty. I mean, hybrid sights and the assault drone. I know not exclusive to Call of Duty, but it's just a comparison that can't help be made by myself, and nor will it not be made by anybody else when the actual game ships. So, hey, might as well start now, because Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, actually the comparisons that is valid, not Battlefield and Call of Duty. That's not valid. What the hell are you thinking for comparing those? But Medal of Honor, no, Call of Duty was designed essentially to be a Medal of Honor clone once, Infinity Ward was kicked out of, the Medal of Honor business. So those two, they are basically the same game. I mean, that's the comparison that is valid and has to be made. They also have multiplayer on the show floor. Again, I haven't seen any multiplayer. What gives, internet? Why aren't you posting videos of this? I need to see this stuff. They did show a trailer with, trashy Linkin Park music in the background. Of course, it seemed cool, intense, big explosions, blah, all that good stuff that everybody loves. And, the real multiplayer information that we have so far came from interviews afterwards. You get to pick a faction that you play as, like your special forces. You could be, U.S. Special Forces, German, Russian, Polish, etc., etc., etc. But I don't know if that's, for when you play in the multiplayer. Is it going to be like MAG, where you choose a faction, and every game you go into, you'll be playing with that faction? Because that will lead to a whole lot of balance issues if all the good people end up going Navy SEAL, and all the bad people end up going, Russia, and you want to play as Russians because they look cool and they sound cool or whatever, but, you're going to be, murdered by these SEALs, I don't know. Or I don't know if it's when you play as, coalition versus insurgents in multiplayer, if it would be like you would just pick essentially a coalition skin. I don't know. That's something that I really need. What we were given, though, were different classes. They expanded from the classes in the Medal of Honor. There are now 6 of them. They're actually different classes. They have different weapons that they carry. Of course, they have different health. They have different movement speed, deal different types of damage. So, interesting. There's going to be different classes for all playstyles, I would assume. Very interesting. I kind of like that. They also have a bit of a teamwork mechanic in, but not to the extent of Battlefield, which is good because Medal of Honor focused infantry-based combat, which is, fast-paced, not slow-paced. So teamwork, less Battlefield, more Call of Duty side. That's what Medal of Honor needs to be. And so it, rewards teamwork. You'll get bonuses for staying with your team. You'll reload faster. You'll be able to borrow ammo from your teammates, I think it is. you'll be able to squad spawn on your teammates. You'll get like bonuses for killing with them, so it encourages some team play, but it doesn't require it. So the multiplayer, from what I've heard, sounds alright. The campaign looks pretty good. I'm pretty interested, a little bit excited. Looks very nice, but I need to see the multiplayer footage. Alright, next up, Crysis 3. This is going to be brief because the demo they showed was pretty brief, and Crysis 3 was already revealed, so we already know what it's about. New York City after the super explosion. Apparently, Cell are alive in the city, and so are the Ceph, and as your main character, you go around and you murder, the bad guys, and do stuff. It looks the same as Crysis 2. Still looks awesome, nice. It is very good in terms of campaign, because you get wider Halo-style battlefields play as you will, but with some cool cinematic moments like Call of Duty. So, it looks great, but it looks just like Crysis 2. Nothing we haven't seen before, except for, the bow and arrow as a weapon, if you really want to count that as some, revolutionary new feature. The thing I want to point out is the voice of the character. We heard Prophet's voice in the game, and, so Prophet, is he dead? Is he not dead? Is he, alive within the suit? I assumed at the end of Crysis 2, when we heard, I am Prophet, I assumed that meant, that Prophet was going all like Yoda and would be helping him out from within the suit. I didn't think Alcatraz would, go all Yu-Gi-Oh! And transform into Prophet. I don't know, what gives? And also, how did Prophet even get to New York? What gives? We were playing Crysis 1, we were in Korea, we wake up in Crysis 2 as a normal Marine, and there's Prophet over us. What the hell happened to Nomad and Psycho? Come on, this game better explain that, otherwise I'll be pissed. Alright, now we are taking a little break from military shooters and going on to Ubisoft. Now, I'm not an Assassin's Creed 3 person, or an Assassin's Creed person, so if you want information on that, you can look it up online. There's literally an hour of brand new footage from E3. There was Assassin's Creed 3 at every stinking conference. It'll take you no effort to find. Just search it on YouTube. You'll be fine. You'll get all the Assassin's Creed that you need. Now, from Ubisoft, though, there are a few things that I do want to talk about. First of all, they had a new demo for Far Cry, which is, it's cool. We saw Far Cry last year. We've been seeing Far Cry throughout the year, so it wasn't anything mind-blowing, but it was cool to see some more gameplay from Far Cry. There was another title called ZombiU. It's a stupid-sounding title, but it's for the Wii U, as the title would infer. I'm gonna go over that more during when I go over Nintendo than when I go over now. And the third thing about Ubisoft at their conference that I really was into, which is just mind-blowing, was this game called Watch Dogs. I implore you to go look at this demo. I'll put it in the description of this video. It was a phenomenal demo. The applause it got, the adoration it got, it just showed how great it was. It's a new IP. It takes place in, I think it's New York City. If not, it's some city similar to New York. And basically, you're either a hero or a villain. It's not clear. And Ubisoft said, they're being morally ambiguous with the main character to where you can spin him both ways. And basically, he's like an agent, and he has the ability to mess with, the digital landscape. He can go, mess with traffic lights. He can, jam cell phones, and just by looking at people, he can, pull up their personal information, what they've done in the past, bad things they've done, weaknesses, their innate hostilities. He can do a lot of things, and it's a really unique concept. In the game, we saw him, in the demo, we've seen him, basically assassinate someone. I don't know if this is part of, maybe some plot for revenge, or maybe he's an assassin. I just don't know what the story, about it. All you need to know is this thing looks phenomenal. If Halo 4 wasn't at this conference, and if I wasn't such a Halo 4 fanboy, this would easily be, the thing that I take away from this show. Top dog. Easily. Hands down. And even then, I'd still say this is, game of the show. This made the biggest presence. It just looks phenomenal. In terms of gameplay, in terms of style, and also just in terms of graphics. It looks spectacular, graphically. This thing, they were really vague about the consoles it was coming onto. I think we might have just seen our first next-gen game, because it's just amazing. You just have to see this thing. Words can't describe. It needs to be seen yourself. Alright, so Sony's conference, they had 3 big things of note. Well, 4. They had God of War Ascension, don't care about, not a God of War person. They had Beyond, the new game from Quantum Dream. Looks fantastic as always, but not a Quantum Dream person, the demo looks cool and everything, but, go check it out. If you like that sort of thing, you'll like it. PlayStation All-Stars was already revealed to us, so not much we can talk about it, other than the fact that it will have cross-play with PlayStation Vita, and also Nathan Drake and Big Daddy are in it. It looks cool, looks fun. I might pick it up, but, nothing. My friends aren't going to play it. We still got Smash Bros. It just looks like Sony Smash Bros. And they don't know, who the hell Nathan Drake is, because they only have, a Wii and an Xbox. I don't know, whatever. But the game that stole the Sony show was The Last of Us. This was one of the most talked about games at E3 easily. It looked great. It was a demo. It was revealed to us some time ago. Was it last year's E3 it was first revealed? I don't remember. Point is, this is our first time with actual gameplay. Looks great. We finally have a clear definition of what this game is, which isn't, a zombie game. It's not you killing zombies in hordes like a Resident Evil game. Speaking of which, Resident Evil 6 was at the conference. Again, don't care about Resident Evil. Not going to be going over it. So, Last of Us, it's a zombie game. But it's not the zombies, or rather the setup for the story of survival. It's man versus man, as, everyone's killing each other for supplies, rather than, the last survivors teaming up together against a zombie horde. It looked very brutal, visceral, very real, very fluid. Apparently, it wasn't scripted, but I have a very hard time believing that, considering, the things look scripted. They might be hoping that the game won't turn out scripted, and that'll all happen naturally, but I honestly doubt that wasn't scripted. It was too perfect to be real, if you know what I mean. Watch the demo to see what I'm talking about. The game also has a backpack feature, kind of reminiscent of one of those old point-and-click adventure games like Monkey Island, where you have a backpack, you mix things in the backpack to get weapons, which looks like a necessity because, the character only had 4 bullets on him at the start of the mission and picked up 2 more after killing someone, so bullets are a rare commodity, which I like. That could be great done in a game to kind of build tension and make you feel like every bullet counts, but on the other hand, if all the enemies have, surplus firearms, then you'll be put at a disadvantage if you don't have the ammunition to fight against them. So, yeah, that's a wait-and-see thing. But overall, Last of Us looked great. Naughty Dog, amazing, animations and facial expressions and voice acting and all that good stuff. Looked awesome. Next up, I'm going to go over really quickly a new game from LucasArts, which most of us probably heard of if you're listening to this, Star Wars 1313. It is a game following a bounty hunter on Coruscant, level 1313, because Coruscant is made up of a bunch of layers for you Star Wars noobs, and we didn't really see much, other than it looks amazing, like from a visual standpoint. The cutscene engine is the same engine that they use for gameplay, and it looks very fluid, it looks very nice. Again, a lot of technical wizardry, like it looks very good. I think, again, this might be a next-gen title that we're seeing, because they said PC, and that was it. Again, not clear about what platforms it was coming on, other than it was running on a high-end PC. And if it's only runnable on a high-end PC, why would you even make the game to begin with? I think it might be a next-gen title that we are seeing here. Not much in the way of gameplay, other than a little bit of shooting, which looked, cover-based shooting. It looked pretty standard fare, and I fell out the ship, and now I have to platform my way up like Nathan Drake from Uncharted. So, is this Uncharted, but with Star Wars? I don't know. Kind of looks like it from a gameplay point of view, obviously not from a story point of view, but, well, we'll see. And then again, bounty hunters, Nathan Drake is a treasure hunter. It might be similar in more ways than we think. Maybe it is Star Wars Uncharted, which, I don't know about you, but that sounds, freaking amazing. Like, that's not an insult, that sounds awesome. Okay, now we move on to Nintendo. Nintendo. Oh, how wrong you were. This was the conference that Nintendo needed. They needed to show the gaming world, hey, we showed the Wii U last year, but this is what it can do. This is how it's going to revolutionize gaming, and this is why you need to buy one. We didn't get that at all. It looked rather pitiful. I mean, they needed to showcase games that really showed not only were good games, but showed the potential of the Wii U. But we didn't even get games at the conference. Not that many good games anyway. We got Pikmin 3, which looked, it looked awesome. It's Pikmin, it's a big Nintendo franchise. Of course it's going to look good. Though, on the Wii U, do you really need the Wii U to play it? Because they were talking about using the Wii Remote and Nunchuck as the default control scheme. Again, it's not a good example of what the Wii U can do, despite how awesome it was to see Pikmin. It also wasn't a surprise, considering how Pikmin was, pretty much confirmed to be, coming out within the next couple of years, I mean, we've known about Pikmin 3 for years now. It's not like a big surprise. Nintendo also had a couple 3DS games of note. They had a new Paper Mario. Paper Mario I'm a huge fan of. Looked awesome. They have a new Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion is awesome. This one looks awesome. They had another new Super Mario Brothers. It looked like new Super Mario Brothers, so be the judge for yourself. So, 3 of the best games of the conference, though, were 3DS titles. This is the Wii U conference. What are you thinking, Nintendo? They did show new Super Mario Brothers U, which is just new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U. It does not show what the Wii U can do. It can be done on any console, literally, since the NES, aside from graphics. Horrible game to try and showcase and be one of your poster boys at the conference, if you will, for what the Wii U can do. Nintendo's big, game, though, that they spent a lot of time on was Nintendo Land, a mini-game collection. They spent, 15 minutes on a mini-game collection. It's you go in, you play, you start up the game, you're in a central hub, and you get to select one of 12 mini games, each based off a different Nintendo franchise, which is cool, assuming it's packaged in with the Wii U. If you have to buy it separately, then it's just really rather poor, and again, is going to be another hit against the Wii U. Nintendo Land, though, it's just a tech demo. It just shows different ways you can use the Wii U. It's a mini-game collection. It doesn't show, what the Wii U can do for gaming. You need to have a real game to show the potential of the Wii U, and they didn't show that on stage. They showed the games that I mentioned before, and they showed ports. They were touting, oh, look at all the hardcore games we have. We have a new edition of Batman Arkham City, a game that you've already played before, like a year and a half ago. Yay! They also showed Assassin's Creed 3, a game which is going to be on every other console. They also showed Aliens Colonial Marines, another game which will be on all the other consoles. Like, it was just pointless. Like, why, Nintendo? I didn't think you were this stupid. First of all, you don't rebrand the Wii U as something different, so now people are going to be confused again, like the 3DS, and so you do that, and then you don't show us any games? Like, I'm disappointed. There was one saving grace for the Wii U at this conference, though, and it wasn't really on stage. They did show a trailer of it at both the Ubisoft conference and the Nintendo conference, but they didn't do like a gameplay demo of it like they should have at the Nintendo conference. It's ZombiU. Stupid title, I know, I mean, what gives? But it's a very cool game. It's like a mature rated zombie survival horror first-person shooter. Sounds pretty typical, but it's very unique in that it's extremely hardcore. Now, I don't mean hardcore like, blood and gore, guns, raw, manly stuff. I'm talking hardcore like you die in one shot. And if you die, you're dead. You don't respawn, you don't get revived, you're just dead, you die, game over. You respawn as a new character, level 0, no items, and you can get your items back by finding your dead-ass self as a zombie and killing yourself and looting yourself. But even then, you're at level 0, you have like no skills. That is a very good concept as is, making it, one of the better games for the Wii U. But it really shows some of the cool uses of the Wii U tablet. It's like your constant inventory. It's another second screen to look around in. It's very hard to see exactly why it's useful. Like, for me to describe how it's useful, it just seems very handy, considering that the game doesn't appear to ever pause when you're in a menu. So you keep the TV screen up and you look around for zombies on the TV screen, and you look down in your inventory, doing stuff as zombies slowly walk towards you, and it builds up the suspense. It seems like a very good use of the Wii U tablet. Definitely the best use that we've seen thus far, and I feel like it should have had a spotlight on stage, and it did not, sadly. The only other hardcore game revealed for the Wii U was Project P100 by Platinum Games, which kind of looks like Pikmin, sort of, and I'm not going to go into it because it's kind of stupid looking. Again, not a showcase of the Wii U tablet. They used the tablet for a stroke, something that could have been done with a button. It's like the Wii controller, when it's a good use for the Wii controller, is not waggling it to attack like Twilight Princess did. A good use for the Wii controller is the skyward sword motion of attack, if you get what I'm saying. The Wii U tablet for Project P100 seems to be more akin to Twilight Princess, where it's just shoehorned in, while for ZombiU it seems to be more of an integral part of the experience. And there you have it. That's pretty much everything you need to know about E3 2012. Well, not everything you need to know, but a pretty healthy chunk of information about all the good stuff. A nice variety, a nice sampling to keep us gamers going for another year. I hope you enjoyed this video, or series of video. I actually have no idea how long this thing is going to be. God, this could be like a 2 or 3 parter. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed however many videos or long this was, and Galaxy out.